Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Jari Prasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Unatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, text 12. Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhimahi Yan Mayaya Durjayaya Mam Vadanti Jagad Guru Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Yadmayaya Durjaya
Yanmayaya Durjayaya
Vasudevaya Dhimahi Yanmamaya Durjaya
Yanmayaya Durjayaya
Mam Vedanti Jagadguru
Mam Vadanti Jagadguru
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Yanmamaya Durjaya
Yanmayaya Durjayaya
Mam Vedanti Jagadguru
Mam Vadanti Jagadguru
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Maya Jaya
Janmamaya Durjaya
Mam Vadanti Jagadguru
Mam Vedanti Jagadguru
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Sudemaya Durjaya
Janmamaya Durjaya
Angvaranti Jagadgurum
Mam Vedanti Jagadguru
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Yanmayaya
Durjaya
Mam Vadanti Jagadguru
Mam Vedanti Jagadguru
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Anmayaya Durjaya
Yanmamaya Durjaya
Mam Vadanti Jagadguru
Mam Vedanti Jagadguru.
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Yanmaya Durjaya
Yanmamaya Durjaya
Mam Vadanti Jagat Gurum
Om Vedanti Jagat Guru
Tasmai namo bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Maya Dujaya
Yanmamaya Durjaya
Vadanti Jagat Guru
Ma Vedanti Jagat Guru
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Yanmaya Durjaya
Yanmamaya Durjaya
Mam Vadanti Jagat Gurum
Ma Vedanti Jagat Guru
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Yanmaya Durjaya
Yanmamaya Durjaya
Mam Vedanti Jagat Guru
Ma Vedanti Jagat Guru
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Yanmaya Durjaya
Yanmamaya Durjaya
Mam Vadanti Jagat Guru
Ma Vedanti Jagat Guru
Tasmai namo bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Yanmaya Dujaya
Yanmamaya Durjaya
Mam Vadanti Jagat Guru
Ma Vedanti Jagat Guru
तस्मै नमो भगवते
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
वासुदेवाय धीमहि
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
यन्मायया दुर्जयया
Yanmamaya Durjaya
मां वदन्ति जगद्गुरुं
Ma Vedanti Jagat Guru
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Yanmaya Durjaya
Yanmamaya Durjaya
Mam Vadanti Jagat Guru
Ma Vedanti Jagat Guru Everybody chanted Tasmai unto him Namaha offer my obeisances Bhagavate unto the personality of Godhead Vasudevaya unto Lord Krishna Dhimahi to meditate upon him. Oh yeah. Yeah. By whose? Maya potencies. Durjaya invincible. Mam unto me. Vedanti, they say. Jagat, the world. Guru, the master. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I offer my obeisances and meditate upon Lord Krishna Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead, whose invincible potency influences them, the less intelligent class of men, to call me the supreme controller. Purport, as will be clearly explained in the next verse, the illusory potency of the Lord bewilders the less intelligent to accept Brahmaji, or for that matter, any other person as the Supreme Lord. Brahmaji, however, refuses to be called this, and he directly offers his respectful obeisances unto Lord Vasudeva, or Sri Krishna, the person of Godhead, as he has already offered the same respects to him in the Brahma Samhita 5.1. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Nadir Adir Govinda Savakarna Karnam. The Supreme Lord is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord, in his transcendental body, the ultimate cause of all causes. I worship that primeval Lord Govinda. Brahmaji is conscious of his actual position, and he knows how less intelligent persons, bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord, whimsically accept anyone and everyone as God. A responsible personality like Brahmaji refuses to be addressed by the Supreme Lord by his disciples or subordinates. But foolish persons, praised by men of the nature of dogs, hogs, camels, and asses, feel flattered to be addressed as the Supreme Lord. Why such persons take pleasure in being addressed as God, or why such persons are addressed as God by foolish admirers, is explained in the next verse. So I'll tell you what the next verse is. The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in it is I and it is mine. So that's going to be the next verse. That's one of the Srimad Bhagavatam verses I memorized. The it is I and the it is mine part, and the whole thing is explained here. That Maya is subordinate to Krishna. So, but just as the sunlight is visible, so Maya can't be visible. Darkness can't be there. The sunlight, it chases away the darkness. Darkness can't stay in the presence of the light. It's just some shadows, some shadowy substance where the sun doesn't shine its mercy like that. So, there's this lecture that I listened to, Hanumat Prasad in Honolulu in Hawaii. And he was showing some slides. So first he showed us a slide. There was a dog. He was holding his diploma and he had a captain's hat on. And it looked like he was doing like human kind of thing. So these are the dogs, the hogs, the camels, and the asses. So I'll explain why they're these kinds of persons. In a little bit, but he was also showing some slides on the light of the Bhagavat. It's basically the chapter in the Krishna book called The Seasons of Autumn, and it's a really nice chapter. It's kind of like one of my favorite chapters. Each like phase of like the weather, the conditions, or the environment is compared to specific conditions during the specific ages. So he was stating that just as the stars, there's just all darkness all around. They're not visible. The luminaries of the sun is not visible at night. And it's a darkened night. So this is compared to Kali Yuga and the darkness, the thick darkness of ignorance in the Kali Yuga, right? And so many glowworms, they try to become prominent in the absence of the light of the luminaries. So these glowworms that try to become prominent, these are the persons who want to they're religious organizations, right? They want to become prominent, and he started going into a little bit of history, like Christianity is like one of the major religions, and Judaism. He's saying that he was showing some history that Russia had Christianity in 7th century. They've just recently allowed Christianity again, I think, within the past 10 or 20 years. So I know for sure the Christian missionaries were being arrested and persecuted in Russia. So also were the devotees too. They had to keep it undercover communist Russian devotees. So same thing in China too. If they get caught practicing Krishna consciousness in China, they can go to prison. So this is the verse. Today's verse where people, they want to be addressed as God, or have foolish admirers who want to address another foolish person as God. Is saying that Brahma is practicing austerities and worshiping someone supreme. You know, and if you think about this, Brahma has 4 heads, right? Whenever you see the picture of Brahma, he's and you know, they don't really show what he does on with the other head, but I think from what I've seen, he's writing scripture, or he's writing the Vedas, right, with his other head, right? And so you see Brahmaji doing this, right? I think the one that's facing you, that's in front, I think he holds a lotus flower in the picture. So Narada Muni was saying that Brahmaji's worshiping someone supreme. So it appears that Brahmaji is creating the universe, and that in this universe, he's the supreme personality, but he's subordinate to someone else. So that's Ishvara Parama Krishna. As that Ishvara is the supreme controller. Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna. As Parama means supreme. So Krishna is the supreme controller. Right? The controller of all controllers, but Krishna has no controller. In Dwarka and Krishna book, it's stated that Krishna performs all his household duties very diligently, and chants his Gayatri and performs all of his oblations, his study. And then he meditates on Krishna. And it's stated there, Prabhupada says, we're not to meditate on ourselves, worship ourselves or the supreme within us, within anyone else, but that everything in the ultimate sense is only but Krishna. Krishna in a separated material and spiritual energies. So in the ultimate sense, there's nothing but Krishna. So there's nothing for Krishna to meditate on but Krishna. You know, but not only that, but Krishna is all attractive. Not only does it attract the gopis and the cowboys and Mother Jasoda, right? Nanda Maharaj. But Krishna also becomes attracted. In Nectar of Devotion, it's stated Krishna saw his reflection. And he was in spiritual ecstasy and spiritual bliss was increasing at every moment, like that. So that's pretty amazing. But so when you get to Krishna, every controller, Prabhupada was stating in Krishna, Reservoir of Pleasure, every supervisor, administrator, he has a supervisor, he has a manager, administrator he reports to. So this goes on and on and on. It goes up and up and up. I think what the president, the United States, and the prime ministers, they report to the United Nations, right? The United Nations, they have a group of organizations that they report to. They're all regulating each other, making sure everybody's trying to stay straight, and they're completely corrupt. You know, keep doing all this strange stuff, messing around with the economy. I guess now they're talking about digital medical certificates worldwide. And I guess what they're trying to do a thing with the economy and the World Bank or something. So anyways, this is the karmis, the demons. They don't know what to do and what's not to be done. And so that's why they're called dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. Okay, now the dog, well, Prabhupada stated this, that the man, he's driving on 4 wheels, and dog, he's walking on 4 legs. So what's the difference? This activity is still the same. He's looking for illicit sex life or intoxication, or just trying to make some money, try to find out where the money is. Kind of like the fly flies around trying to find the feces. So so he's driving around for sense gratification. And so basically the dog has indiscriminate sex life. Prabhupada was saying he's naked, he doesn't have any clothes. He's not ashamed, just right in front of everybody in the plaza, in the square. They'll have intercourse like that. Everybody kind of likes, oh, cute, look at their little doggies. Yeah, right. And then now the hogs. Now the hogs indiscriminately have sex life, even with his mother or his daughter, his own daughter. There's a story where Brahmaji became attracted by his daughter and he chased her like that. So he was rectified. The situation was rectified on that. But that attracts everyone. As even a great yogi, Vishwamrita Muni, he was meditating, and he was meditating under the water so that he wouldn't be disturbed, he wouldn't be attracted by Maya, but he saw some fish coupling. And so he fell down into sex life, and he got married, into the great ashram, and forgot all about self-realization. Srimad Bhagavatam has some verses that this one person, he didn't realize that so many days and nights had passed, so many waning and waxing of the moon and the rising and the setting of the suns. And so now his life duration is coming up short. He's now advancing into his advanced elderly age. He didn't realize that so much time had been passed. And he hadn't performed devotional service or engaged in self-realization for a long time. And he was just enjoying with this woman, like that, very comfortable plush beds and golden pillows, embroidery, jewelry and necklaces, fragrances. So he was enamored by the glitter of Maya. And so that's the case of people today who indiscriminately would have sex with their mother, or certain societies, that they do that in, or their own daughters, incest. So this is what can happen. Prabhupada was saying, give them the machine of a hog, because he acted like a hog in his lifetime. So the bodily machine is a yantra. So you get the bodily machine is a hog. And then the camels, he likes to eat the thorny twigs. And the thorny twigs, they cut his tongue in the inside of his mouth so it bleeds. And he thinks it's very relishable, the taste of his blood with the mix of the dry thorny twigs and leaves are like so palatable. It just tastes so good that he just goes on chewing and eating, cutting up his tongue in the inside of his mouth. So that's the camel. And they ask us, he's the beast of burden, the picture, the photograph, or whatever you can look up. He's carrying the laundry, and he's loaded way sky high with a big bundle of laundry or firewood. He's loaded really, really big and high, and it's all strapped on there all good. And so he's working very, very hard for the washerman. And he thinks he's going to get a little bit of grass at the end of the day, right? But all along the road where he's working and walking so hard, there's grass growing all over there all day long. And sometimes what they'll do is take a carrot. So this is also described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Take a carrot and tie it to the end of a stick and hold it over the face of the donkey so that he can see it. So the donkey's thinking, one more step and I'll get the carrot. And he's going like, one more step and I'll get the carrot. So he's trying to get the carrot, getting one more step. And in this way, he's working hard, but he never gets the carrot. So that's the asses. Foolish rascals, foolishly working very hard for sense gratification. And then it's a futile attempt because all misdirected for the wrong purpose. So that's what Deva was explaining about Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like Srimad Bhagavatam stated in the beginning, that this Bhagavat Puran will shine light in the age of the darkness of Kali. That this is the only means of conquest in the current age of Kali, is to hear the Bhagavat Purana or Srimad Bhagavatam, which is as brilliant as the sun. So also, if you noticed in the verse, the first two lines, Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhimahi. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, we chant this every day. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? And then Dhimahi, I do meditate upon that. That actually makes it Gayatri. Right? But this is the same verse, Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or Tasmai unto him, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Brahmaji is offering his respectful obeisances and he meditates upon Lord Krishna of Vasudeva. And so descriptions are given there as his peacock feather in his crown, head bedecked with peacock's feather, figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds. His unique loveliness is charming many millions of cupids or gopis. He has the complexion of the Mon-Sun cloud, like that. He's holding a flute. And so the descriptions of Krishna are given there, and the descriptions of the spiritual world is given there. The Sarabi cows and the Lakshmis, or the goddess of fortune, the gopis, the which one of them? Sarabi cows and the Kalpa Vriksha trees, and the whole dham. It's called Chintamani dham. It's made of Chintamani stone. So the Chintamani is very, very valuable gem, touchstone. So this story was just told recently in class, right? Where who was it? Sanatana Goswami. He had a touchstone, and someone found out about it and came to Sanatana Goswami to ask him if he can get the touchstone. He's going, "Oh, is that thing? Yeah, sure. It's all over there on the heap pile in the trash." I threw it away. And so he got it, and he was touching it. So everything was making gold. He was becoming a very wealthy person. And then he was thinking, like, in the back of his mind, like, well, why did he have this on the trash pile? Right? How did I get it so easily? It's just over there on the trash pile. So he went back to Sanatana Goswami. He's going, well, why was this on the trash pile? And become a very wealthy person. But then his Sanatana Goswami was, didn't have the guy throw it in the river, actually. And then kind of explained to him that chanting the holy names and Lord Krishna of Vasudeva was the real treasure. It was, what was it? It was, he was just a 7-year-old boy, just a very small child, Dhruva Maharaj, being insulted by his stepmother, whom his father, who was the king, favored more than his natural mother, which made him less important in the kingdom. So he was insulted by his stepmother, and that he couldn't sit on the lap of the king because he wasn't her son. So his mother told him, well, Krishna or Vasudeva can help you. And he says, well, where do I find him? And say, well, great sages find him in the forest. So he went to the forest and he started to perform austerities. He just simply fasted. He was just eating some leaves every few days, or stopped eating leaves. And then he was just simply drinking a little water every few days. And so then he stopped drinking water. And then he was just taking some breath in every few days. And then he just stopped breathing. Right. And Narada Muni came to him and gave him the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And there's that mantra again. So Dhruva Maharaj was practicing austerity, standing on one leg and meditating on Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, holding his breath in meditative trance. And in 6 months, he realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Supreme Personality of Godhead came down on Garuda, and he wanted to offer him a kingdom. And Dhruva Maharaj was saying, well, I was looking for a kingdom greater than my father, but basically, as I've only been looking for broken glass, having now seen and realized your glories, like that. So the Lord was very pleased. Dhruva still got a great kingdom. And not only that, but he surpasses opulences by anyone in the material world. He now occupies the Dhruva Loka, or what it is, it's the North Star, Svetadweep, where Krishna Dakshai Vishnu lies on the Milk Ocean. So, and then he also, when he was going back home, back to Godhead, the swan carriers, the Vishnu Dutas came with the swan carriers, swan airplanes, take them back, going back to God, or take them to Dhruva. Actually, Dhruva is actually just as good as going back to Godhead, because Kashad actually Vishnu is there, and everyone engages in devotional service. So he was saying, well, his mother is actually his guru, by pointing the direction to the forest where he met Narada Muni and practiced austerities. His mother, I believe her name was Sumitra. So he wanted to know if his mother, if he can take his mother, and he showed him that actually his mother was already on a swan airplane, already on her way. Like that. So Dhruva Maharaj was very pleased. So, so that's the position of engaging in devotional service. So even though Dhruva Maharaj, he was just a small child, just 7-year-old boy. Prahlad Maharaj, just a 5-year-old child. He was preaching to his friends. Gaura Nitai Ki Jai. His father was the greatest demon in the universe. Yeah, so that's the that's position of in the Kali Yuga is so much darkness, and it's stated that they blaspheme the real religion and the practice of false religion, like that, or they have a misconception of the philosophy and engage in horrible activities in the name of the religious scriptures. That's why Lord Buddha, he invented to stop the animal slaughter in the name of the Vedas, because the Vedas, they perform and recommend animal sacrifices. But in the previous ages, there's no qualified brahmanas in this age. In the previous ages, the brahmanas, they ignited the fire by mantra. And when the animal, either the horse or a cow, was offered into the fire, the animal emerged from the fire in a rejuvenated body. So they were taking this for meat eating, the animal sacrifices. And so Lord Buddha, he just decried the Vedas, and he gave him a monist nirvisesha shunyavad philosophy. But ultimately, everything is just void. It's kind of like what the materialist thing. Well, at the end, you just go to sleep. You just go unconscious. The doctors, they give you medication to help ease the pain. All the doctors and nurses say they all go the same way, practically screaming bloody murder, homo, gazing off into space, in terror, when they die. Sometimes they were saying that there's a really strange man walking around in my room. I said, well, how did he get here? It's a really, really weird, strange guy. He says he's going to punish me. And they go, oh, okay, here, you just need some medication, just calm your nerves, you're hallucinating. There's no one here like that. So, was it Lord Kapila Dev in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam explains the adverse fruitive reactions. So throughout one's life, he's working so hard and struggling. And there's so many challenges, and his family, they demand so much, and he just works so hard. Now he becomes older and he can't support his family the way he used to, so they resent him and don't treat him very well. They treat him less than the family dog, and he's losing his hearing and his sense of vision, and his senses are failing him. And then what happens is with this last breath, he realizes that he goes to hell as before. Like that. We've been in hell many, many times when we blew it in the human form of life. We can figure that one out because we're still in the material world right now, right? And so there's 8,400,000 species of life, and it takes millions of years to pass through this process. And we've been in the material world since time immemorial and have gone through this process millions of times. Like that. So now is the chance and the opportunity in this human form of life to become self-realized and finally extract ourselves from matter and finally go back home, back to Godhead, rather engaging in the hard struggle for existence in the material world. So I think I just about covered everything, didn't Is there any questions or comments? You have a question?
Hare Krishna. Is it okay if I make a comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're talking about the dogs, camels, and asses, remembered one other part about the asses is that even they're working very hard, and then when they go to have sex with the she ass, then the she ass kicks the male ass in the face, you know.
Yeah,
It's like, get
simply
away from me,
kicked
get
in the
away
head.
from me. But still he seeks after that same sense gratification. That's sort of
Yeah.
the quality of the asses.
They're just simply kicked in the head. Yeah, they must have some really strong bones because they can kick really hard. You know, you get hurt if they kick us. So he's made in such a way to be so foolish. They repeatedly, again and again, approach the she ass and again get kicked in the head. And then I guess he forgets. I guess that was another thing too. In the material world, the materialists, they forget, right? They're supposed to chalk it up to experience, right? But again, cheated again in another way. You know, it's like, oh man, forgot. You know? So like that. So that's their position, the asses. And any other questions or comments or?
You were saying that I forgot the name was changing the Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. What's his name again?
Oh, my name?
No, the name of Durva.
Oh, Dhruva Maharaj.
Durva Maharaj.
Dhruva.
And it's considered to be a Gayatri also.
Well,
Can you
Dhimahi
expand?
in this verse, it means I do meditate upon. The Gayatri ends with the words Dhimahi in the line. So Prabhupada mentions that's what makes it Dhimahi. I actually looked it up because I mentioned it before, but that's what makes it Gayatri. But the verse Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, this is the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Srimad Bhagavatam begins. Offer their respectful obeisances unto Vasudeva Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Like that. And then just after that, it's the first verse of Vedanta Sutra, Janmani Asya Yatha, is that all things that exist emanate from the Supreme.
So he was just meditating on that one line, basically, or
Oh, yeah, you could. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
and that's it. That's all it took for him to come to self-realization.
Yeah. So, yeah, this mantra is, I think, in many places in Srimad Bhagavatam. But yeah, Dhruva Maharaj was given that mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, by his spiritual master, Narada Muni. So Narada Muni, now he's speaking to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji speaking to Narada Muni. And these verses here are exactly what's being spoken by Brahmaji. This was spoken at the beginning of the universe, when Narada Muni was brought into the universe. But yeah, it's just simple as that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It can help to visualize the Supreme Lord within your heart. Visualize Vasudeva Krishna, his form, his name, his activities, his pastimes. You know, he realized God or Krishna within his heart. You know, so that's where the yogis, they look within their heart in the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yeah, you can give it a jump start. Oh yeah, and then was it Devaki? She was talking about this. I mentioned this a lot of times. You know, give us some feeling. You know, give us some devotional love. You know, open your heart. You know, open your heart so that you can feel devotional love. You know, while you're meditating. Give it a another added dimension. An emotional phase. The emotional aspects of love of Godhead, like that, and we can only just aspire to maybe have love of Godhead or be able to realize Krishna within our heart, but we can make the attempt for self-realization. Prabhupada was just talking about this. Said Krishna is so pleased by our tiny little puny attempts for self-realization that he reveals himself. Oh, that was a really good statement. I really like that. I heard that in a lecture yesterday. Yes, does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay, great. Any other questions or comments or points of discussion? So maybe we can end Srimad Bhagavatam class there. Srimad Bhagavatam class, ki jai.
Jai.
Today is Ekadashi,